Hey guys, Tisha here. I'm not even supposed to be recording right now. I am at work and I said, you know what? After listening to all these little clips of Carlos and Mel on what is Carlos's first leg of his live podcast, I said, okay, I got to come to you all because a lot came up. I'd like to thank my moderator for letting me know because I didn't even know all this was going on. So I was going from Instagram to this story, to that story, to Mel's feed and clicking on what different people said. And I finally have compiled some notes, part in the paper, part of me looking off to the side, but this is what we're going to do to make sure that we get this out. So Carlos said that he did not make Martell bring those flowers. So when Martell was coming to the internet blaming Carlos for making him look stupid because Mel was supposed to accept these flowers that he brought for her, according to Martell, it was Carlos's idea. Carlos is saying no, that Martell is lying, because if he were to have encouraged him to do anything for Mel, it would have been done on a much grander scale, like a jet or something. He said he was also disappointed in Martell saying that basically everybody on the show is actors, that they're hired actors. And Mel let Carlos know, like, that is basically Martell making this statement to kind of taint what they've built, like tainting the brand and the show. Now, I will say this much. I do believe that what Tisha and Marceau gave us, sorry, I was about to say his brother's name, was acting, but I do not feel that in that scene that they were acting. I feel like that was one of the realest scenes that we got, that it truly showed just how the gaslighting abilities of Mr. Martell. That's what that scene showed us. So the millimeters were activated, according to Mel, because they got tired of seeing the lack of support that Mel received from the cast, from some of the same people, including women who sat on that stage with her. So let's get to the meat of this. They talk about the arrest that happened with Martell. Apparently, Mel initially filed her complaint sometime in August, okay? So this just happened in January 9th, I believe it was, but she filed as far back as August. And Carlos asked her, where she was when she heard about it. She said when she heard about the arrest that she was actually getting ready to do a scene for the show. She makes it clear that although it was happening, she wasn't very happy about it, that she had mixed feelings. She wasn't at home cheering like, yay, get him, go get him, because she couldn't help but think about her kids, because that is the father of her children. She said her children were supposed to be with Carlos at the time. So Carlos pointed out that he knows that what Mel is saying is true, because at one point he called her to check on her and she seemed very frazzled, and she just kept talking about how he's supposed to be with the kids. Mel said it was a hard decision to put the warrant out on Martell, but she thought really hard about all the different things that were done to her and the transgressions that he continued to talk about her to the internet and put out the false narratives that he had. And she just felt like a decision had to be made. And she said she really thought about her children before doing it. And I'm just like, it's too bad that he never thinks about his children before doing some of the things that he does. Because if he did, a lot of what we've seen would have never came out. A lot of what we've heard from Coleslaw would have never been mentioned if he really were to shut her down and to shut himself down and think about these kids. She said she was hoping that he'd be quiet and that he would leave her alone, but he didn't. Her brother at one point brought up to her that she probably wouldn't have even went through with the warrant if he had just left her alone and apologized. And she said, well, maybe she wouldn't have, but maybe she would have. She said that she got to the point where she realized she needed to do it. So she called Lauren because she needed the support to make sure that she didn't just make the steps, but that she actually had a follow through. So Lauren flew in to take her where she needed to go, because she said she was unfamiliar with this type of process. This isn't anything that she ever did, that her team and her mom knew exactly what she was doing. So she took all of her evidence to the magistrate. He asked, did she want to have a warrant issue based on all of the findings, all of the evidence that she showed him? And he looked at it and said, yeah, we can file one. And she said, yes, I do want it. So we find out, based on something that someone asked in the audience, that Coleslaw didn't get a warrant because the warrant had to go to the person who actually had the evidence. And in this case, allegedly, the person with this evidence is Martell. Now, I'm saying allegedly because that's what I'm supposed to say, but I very much so believe that Martell did what he said he did. I mean, we know he did. He went on various platforms talking about some of the revenge P and saying certain things and saying that he had her on video and things of that nature. So I could only imagine what was said in the text messages. So the lawyer said, we have his address. We can have him picked up. We can have a PI go out, watch him. When he arrives, we can get a call. Mel pointed out that the reason why she did not go with that and do that is because she believes in divine timing. So she said she didn't want to do that. She decided she would wait around because eventually he would do something where they would run his stuff, see that he had a warrant out, and that it would eventually happen. She said she went on to say that she never thought she'd have to do it. And she just doesn't understand why he couldn't just say, you know what, I messed up. I'm going to leave her alone and let it go. She was telling her family at different points, because of everything that's been going on, that she wishes that she had her kids by someone else. Why did I have to have my children by this man? And I heard her when she was saying it, and I said, she's not alone in that feeling. I can understand that. I've heard various people in my life say it. Hell, I might have said it myself at one point. But she just really, is in a place where, and was in a place where, she's tired of being stressed out by this man. And I feel like because she's allowed him to get away with so much, this to her was the final straw. So Mel said she doesn't do any interviews. And then she corrected and she said, you know what? No, I haven't done them in a long time, which is true. We have not heard a lot of Mel interview-wise. Now, we've seen her go on her platform. She goes live out of nowhere. And sometimes she'll say some things mainly in response to what is being put out. She said, knowing that I haven't done any interviews, you still have him continuing to go out and he's doing interviews trying to tear her down. My moderator had pointed out the fact to me that even with Tasha K, he's currently done an interview with Tasha K and they're charging, I believe she said it was $7.99 for the interview. And that's just another way for him to talk against Mel. Now, I'm not saying don't do your interviews, but be honest in what you're saying. So Carlos started talking about how women on the various shows that he's been a part of have been cheated on by their husbands, and how they get back with them. And it was different with Mel, because after the season 1, when she said she was done, that he thought that it was over. So he said when he came to do the reunion, he was very prepared for the fact that this would all be over. And when they did the reunion, to his surprise, he saw that she was pregnant. And when he went into her dressing room, she said, "We're back together." He added, "Mel, you're the only reality star who's divorced from their husband, and you continue to work with him." This is not something that she wanted to do, but he said it like she should be given, a lot of accolade for that. Carlos asked her, what was it like coming into work, going through what she was going through? And this is when Mel got activated. She said, "Sorry, y'all, I'm in the car. There's no heat on. Didn't mean to sniffle like that, but just sorry." She said it's like tormenting her. She would get ready for work and she would just feel like she didn't even want to go and leave. Like she didn't want to be around that energy. She just wanted to just stay. And she said, even for this conversation, knowing that we're doing this live podcast, that I didn't want to do it. And if it weren't for like Lauren and my mom and them seeing me and being there for me, I don't know if I could have. She said, it's hard to come out even on this particular night and have this conversation with Carlos. And Carlos wonders why. And she says, because she was wondering like what she was stepping into. She said, Carlos, I have to be honest. I got to the point where I was wondering when you all were going to step in. And when she said that, there was so much emotion in that moment that I understood exactly what she was saying. Like, when are you going to come and save her? You see this man, you see what he's doing, you see how he's cheated on her, you see how this mistress is coming to the side, doing all these interviews, telling her personal information, things that she's had to have found out from her husband, and you don't protect her in the manner that she really needed to be protected. She says, Carlos, I didn't understand how you couldn't see it. And none of us did, because we all saw it. So she says, she felt like, when are you going to step in? There were times where she was upset with Carlos and she was like, they don't see me. They don't see me at all. She says she thought about her kids because of what they had to witness and all the things that they've seen on the internet and things of that nature, and all of the different things that had already have gotten out there. Things are happening at home, things that we don't even know about. But she said, but Carlos, you did. That at one point, she really didn't care for Carlos. She said that now she's been talking to him more like they used to talk, but she still kind of doesn't trust him. And I understand, Mel, don't ever let up on Carlos. Because even in this interview, he couldn't really admit his faults. He made excuses about Bell Collective and how he had to help over there with his other shows and stuff like that. But if Mel is supposed to be this queen, this person that you value so much, this person that you saw as gold from the very beginning, all according to what he's saying here. Like, it took 3 years for them to greenlight this show. 3 years of Mel constantly reaching out to him. This is very much so her baby too, but you weren't willing to protect one of your stars. She says she felt Carlos knew stuff was going on. And as she's saying this, he gets quiet. And he did know things were going on. Carlos is spending so much time in everybody else's show. He knows about his show. I'm not even big, okay? I have 1,050. Whoop, whoop. I have 1,050 followers. And people will say things to me on Twitter and at me on certain things, or mention certain things in a comment section, or mention me on another YouTuber's post, and I see it because they want me to see what I don't see. So I'm sure there were people, thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people adding Carlos. Carlos said that he did not feel like Mel needed him as much, and they weren't really talking. He just didn't know it was that bad. And I feel like it's BS. He's all over the place. Carlos tells so many lies. So what exactly can we believe? If it got to the point where they had to have security, because Mel even thanked him, and in one of the clips that I saw, she was thanking him for always having security there when she was filming all of her various scenes. So I'm saying, if you had to have security there for her when she was filming these various scenes, then you had to have known it was bad. But I am glad that Mel called him out in that moment, let him know that she did not feel protected. Carlos was and still is protecting that man. There are times where he was full on disrespectful to Mel, with basically alluding to the fact that she wasn't supposed to doing her job right. Maybe that's why he went a side chick. And I think at one point he referred to coleslaw as a full entree. Like, there was different things that Carlos said where he just seemed to be disrespectful towards Mel. There's times where that man was not only emotionally abusive towards Mel, but we saw the physical aggression, and Mel was not protected. So I don't understand why he's saying he can't see it when he was doing all of this with cameras there. Imagine what he did without them. He apologized, but I don't buy it. Bottom line, like Martell said, and when she said it, the crowd cheered. Like Mel said, I got Martell on the brain. Like Mel said, and when she said it, as I said a few seconds ago, the crowd cheered, Martell needs to go. I'm really interested in seeing what happens with that whole situation, if Martell really is going to go, because Carlos kind of alluded to the fact that he is going to be there for her more. But to me, in order to do so, you're going to have to take actions against Martell, like penalize him in more ways than one. Hit him where it hurts, which is his pocket, because he can make all the threats he wants to on his social media platform that he later took down. Martell very much so needs the show, because what other form of income does he have? Because Inez Wine isn't doing anything. The Suits line isn't just his. He would probably get maybe some small percentage of that. And Ariane Coleslaw Curry isn't doing anything either. So what does Martell have? Y'all, if you have not done so already, please like the video. Leave your comments down below. Like, how do we feel? Do we feel like Carlos is going to penalize Martell? And if it was up to us, what would that penalty look like? Until next time.